Okay, it's 10:34, so I think we should get started. So thanks to everybody who registered for this webinar titled Accelerate Your Career about the Graduate Diploma in Business program offered by the Smith School of Business at Queen's University. We appreciate you registering, and we'd like to let you know that whether or not you were able to attend this webinar in person today, everybody will receive an email within the next 2 to 3 business days with a link to the recording. And so please keep an eye out on your email inbox for that link, and visit our Smith YouTube channel to see that recording. And you can check out some of the other great GDB webinars that we did this past fall as well. So thanks very much for registering, and enjoy this session dedicated to the GDB program.
Alex, thanks very much for kicking it off, and welcome everybody to Queen's University and the Smith School of Business. Queen's is in fact situated on traditional Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory, and we're really grateful to be able to work, live, and play on these lands. And the Smith School of Business and the Graduate Diploma is a program that's been around 9 years here on campus. It is a campus program, so we're particularly grateful to be able to operate here. Okay, we got an exciting 20 minutes to max 30 minutes. And I always say 20 to 30 because sometimes I get talking too much. But I hopefully won't do that too much today, because the two people we have with us today have wonderful insights to share about the program. And in terms of agenda, I'll start with just a quick program overview, but then the importance for today is to talk with Patrick Legrele, who's our Executive Director of Finance, and to Anmol Nagpal, who was a graduate or is a graduate of the Smith GDB just last year. And then we'll have plenty of time if there's questions. But again, this is recorded. It will be made available to folks as well, so you can watch it whenever it's most convenient to you. Okay, so let me just give a background on the Smith GDB. I think it's important to state who it's for. And we've designed this program largely for individuals who are going to graduate this year or the last couple to few years, generally is what we try to do. And the reason for that is that we're trying to help individuals who are new to the marketplace develop the business skills required to leverage their undergraduate degree plus business to take whatever next step matters to them. In a typical class, we get mostly domestic students, and wonderfully each year, a couple of international students. This is exciting because small class size. We typically are 25 to 35 students generally right now, which we really appreciate, and it's a wonderful opportunity to really help each individual student. But each student comes typically from non-business disciplines, and it's a minimum of a 4-year university degree. The program explicitly is quite unique. It's the only one in the country that's 4 months. It's full-time. It runs from May to August every year in Kingston. And it's intensive. You're going to do 10 business fundamental courses at the master's level. That's double what a normal semester would be. So you're going 2-a-days every day in this program between May and August. We designed the program because we wanted students, when they finish it, to feel very comfortable operating in high-performing teams, high-performing remote teams, the way the world has evolved over the last few years. And so that's a critical element of this program. You will learn the methodology from our experts, and then it will be deployed in every course throughout the program. In almost every course, half your grade is tied to your performance within the team. This program also allows extensive one-on-one coaching. Again, small class sizes, and all the resources of the Smith School of Business are available to help you develop yourself. And for some, that's really about career coaching and getting them ready on the path they want to take post-GDB to land a job. For others, it could be an entrepreneurial venture, which is the case with Anmol. And for many others, it's just about leveraging that undergraduate degree, gaining the confidence in business to then figure out which way they want to take the next step in their career. So that's really what the program's about. Very intensive, 2-a-days every day, and you're going to be in a small class size. And the beautiful part of this small class size is we know you very well. And so, I'm not going to scare you here, but you can't hide in the GDB. In the GDB, we walk the halls and we make sure you're getting what you'd plan to get when you join the program. All right, so you think about the key elements of this program. And I think it's important when you think about an environment where you can excel. I think there's a few elements of the GDB that are most important to keep in mind. The one is community. You're all here, all together, 4 months. You really can't work Monday to Friday in this program. Some work on weekends, but most of the time it's just casual type of work on the weekend. Right? So in this program with that kind of intensity, you're going to learn the soft skills you need and those very specific business fundamentals and technical competencies that we know the marketplace is looking for. So you're going to get those. You're going to operate in high-performing teams. We're going to provide every team with a dedicated professional team coach. And so you're going to learn not only the best practices up front, but then day in, day out, you've got a coach there working with you to help you refine those skills, deal with challenges, and just learn to be high-performing in teams. You become part of the Smith community. This graduate diploma makes you an alum of the school. And in being in the program and in being alum, you get access to all of the resources the Smith School of Business has and our alumni network has. And we're well known across the country and around the world. So this is something that can be very helpful. And you got to earn your way in it by being successful in the program. And for many people, the other most important thing they get out of this program, we've heard this over the past 9 years, and excitedly, this is our 10th year. It's just getting clarity on what next step is, or what the next step will be for them. Final point, really important one. This program is designed to integrate fully with our full-time MBA here at Smith University, which is a world-renowned program that runs for 12 months from January to December every year. And that's all in Kingston for 12 months. Well, this program, the GDB, is designed to fit perfectly into it. And students who are successful in the GDB have the option of being able to transfer all the tuition and all the courses over to a full-time MBA. Now, you have to apply. Before you apply to an MBA, you have to get work experience. So many of our grads finish the GDB, accelerate into their career once, go out and work for a couple of years, or do other things entrepreneurially, and then come back a couple of years later, and they can complete our full-time MBA program in half the time at a reduced price because the tuition and the courses transfer over. So it can be a very attractive model to many individuals as they manage the next couple of steps in their career. But let's be clear. I think it's important to always stress this. We're a unique program, the only one that's 4 months. And so this program is not for everybody. And when you're thinking about what's important to you, I think these are some of the things you keep in mind if you're considering the Smith GDB. The one is it's all in May to August. You can't start in June. Everybody's here May 1 and it ends the end of August. You got to be all in on 10 business courses. This is 3 courses in May, 3 in June, and then 2 and 2. It's a lot of work. You got to be ready for that. I love the diversity in this program because when you think about a typical class here, we have individuals who've studied in all kinds of different programs. And so diversity certainly on that level and in universities around the country. And so we get that wonderful element. You can have someone in a team who would be with film, with someone who's an engineer, could be a scientist like Anmal. You could have a psychology student, you could have a sociologist, and you could have potentially someone from computer science and math, all in one team. And what's common about them is none of them have studied business before. That's what's common. And what's different is just how they think about business as they learn about it through the program. So you got to love the idea that teams are going to be important as well to your career. And we know that because industry keeps telling us that. Lastly, as I said, this is small class sizes. The faculty know you. Obviously, I know you, our whole program team, and all the resources of the school that get dedicated to helping you have success. They know you. You're going to get a lot of feedback, a lot of direct one-on-one feedback. And if you take advantage of the school and all our resources, you can get a lot more if you're so inclined. So you got to be ready for that. That's part of this, right? Because as you can see here, this is an important investment. We've seen it pay off. And so we know it makes sense, but you need to think about it. And that's really what today's conversation is about. When we get Patrick and Anmol in a second, it really is about, okay, let's think about this investment and why it matters and how it helps. And then equally importantly, how do you make sure you're able to make it happen for you if that becomes something important to you? Okay, I think I'm not doing bad. I was 12 minutes. I said 10 or so, but we'll make that up for sure. And so what I'd like to do now is first off, just thank Patrick and Anmol for giving us their time. And what's going to happen is I will just facilitate a Q&A for the next 10, 12 minutes, and we'll see how it plays out. But I'm going to start with Patrick. Patrick, maybe you could just give a quick overview of yourself for the attendees, and then I'll start with the first question to you.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So my name is Patrick O'Reilly. I'm the Executive Director of Finance at the school. Been here about 18 years. Graduated from our commerce program in 2002. Worked at KPMG for a little bit, got my CPA, CA, and then joined the school. And my office looks after everything financial for the school business, as well as student account management and working with a lot of programs similar to the GDB.
Wonderful. Okay, Patrick. So this word tuition is scary to all of us. Everybody gets scared when we talk about tuition, but can you share with the group how tuition fees are set in graduate level programs? And, you know, what goes into determining it, and maybe just, you know, the connection to the value of going from GDB to full-time MBA.
Sure. So first and foremost, obviously, you talked about the business fundamental courses. So whenever you're looking at pricing a program, you look at the credits that you're going to earn. So when we look at the GDB, there's 25.5 credits that you're going to earn. So if we compare that to a full-time MBA student that's doing 60 credits, obviously the full-time MBA program's tuition is going to be higher than the GDB. The other thing we do at Smith, and when you're looking at various programs, you should keep in mind that we have an all-in fee. So we're talking about tuition, but we're also including your books and materials in our costs. So we call it a program fee. And Jim touched on the personal coaching that you're going to get, the one-on-one and the career support. That's all packaged in the fee. So currently we're at $36.5 for the GDB, which is your tuition, your books, your materials, your career coaching, and your personal coaching. And the other item that Jim flagged, which is very unique, is after you earn the GDB, you've actually done 42.5% of your full-time MBA, and you've locked it in at today's dollars. Of course, the expectation is that the cost of that full-time MBA is going to increase over time. If you come back in 4 years, you've earned 42.5% discount on the full-time MBA. So we don't just transfer the tuition, it's a percentage discount, and you lock it in at today's dollars.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thanks very much for that, Pat. I didn't even know it was the percentage that transferred. That's beautiful. Okay, Anmol, over to you. Maybe just a little background on yourself and all these exciting things you've done and are doing, and then I'll start with a question to you in a sec.
Sure, Jim. So my background is in neuroscience and philosophy. So I did my undergrad in cognitive science at McGill, and then I did my master's degree in neuroscience at McGill. And now I have started a biopharmaceutical company here in Montreal called Moss Pharma.
Beautiful. Thanks, Anmol. So Anmol, you made the decision to invest in Smith and the Smith GDB. Can you share your process for thinking about why that was the right investment for you at the time you made it last summer?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I was in a unique situation. I was 1 year out of school, working in a hospital in the lab, and I knew I wanted to go work in business, but I felt that I was not experienced enough for an MBA, but also did not have enough background in business for an entry-level role. I was too specialized. So I was looking for programs that could kind of help me bridge this, the valley of death, I guess I would call it for me, between business and what my background was in neuroscience. So the GDB came to me from that. And for me, it was a strategic investment. I thought of it as, I'm going in to do this specifically to get this out.
And Mo, thanks very much. I love that phrase, strategic, because as you think about growing your company now, you and I have chatted, and there's a lot of things you have to touch now that you feel a lot more comfortable at least going a few layers deep on, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I know what VC firms are looking for because I understand how they're going to value us, or if they should value us. These are all things that I absolutely would have no idea how to do if I hadn't done the program.
Thanks, Edmo. Okay, Patrick, over to you. So, you know, the beautiful thing that I get excited about Smith is we graduate thousands of students every year. And one of the things with all our programs is helping people finance the program fees. Can you share with our audience, you know, the resources, the scholarships, and other programs we try to have available to help them figure this out so that they don't feel they're all alone?
Yeah, and pretty important time right now with the rising interest rates, and as we're looking at the cost of doing business. But I love Anmol's story about the return on investment that he saw. So I'll cover a few different things. So first of all, any domestic student in Canada is eligible for a tuition tax credit when you take a program like the GDB. So there's a federal credit and there's a provincial credit. Students in Ontario, unfortunately, the provincial credit is 0, so you get the federal credit of 15%. So whenever you're looking at this investment, I did the math. So the GDB is 36.5. You'll get a tax credit of 5,260. So it's important to build that into your budget, that you will get that credit. And so the net cost of the program would be 31,239 if you're from Ontario. So that's something everybody gets. A unique thing that we've done is we've negotiated with the Royal Bank of Canada for our line of credit program. You can access that on the GDB website, and a lot of these financing items I touch on are on there. And we've negotiated with them a rate of prime plus 1%. You will need a co-signer for that, so hopefully you have one available. And if you do, that prime rate plus 1% is quite good. Right now, if you were to just walk into the RBC branch or any one of the major branches, you're probably looking at prime plus 4 or 5%. So we're saving you 3 to 4% while you're in the program, and then there's a 2-year grace period. And then that amount jumps up, I think, to prime plus 3% after 2 years. So that's an item to think about. Of course, you have your registered education savings plans if you have an RESP. Everyone should also be aware that if you had an opportunity to invest in your RSPs, you can access what's called a lifelong learning program, and you can withdraw up to $10,000 from that to help finance your degree. And then those are kind of the main financing options for domestic students, along with some scholarship options. They're fairly limited, but we do have some. And then for our international students interested in the program, we have a relationship with Empower Financing, and they do loans to international students. And so they're aware of our program. And if you talk with them, you can typically get a better rate than you can in your domestic country. So those are the main ones that I can think of.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Patrick. You know, that tax credit I wasn't even aware of. And I'm sure, Ann Mull, when you heard this, you're going, it's tax season soon. Who knows? Maybe in Montreal and Quebec, there may be some additional benefits. Okay, Ann Mull, really here it's about your process. When you made the decision that this is the right thing for you, you also had to think about the financing of it. We chatted about that. Can you share with it how you went about that first part? But then also, what's the MBA mean to you? How did you factor that in terms of your investment?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I looked at the cost of the program, of course, it was always relative to what I would get out of it. So for me, I financed the program really in 3 ways. The first was my own personal savings from grad school. The second was a line of credit. So I did take on a line of credit, a smaller one. And then, of course, Smith gave me a scholarship to attend. So all of those three things are the things I use to finance my my time at Smith and in the GDB. Again, it was a very strategic investment. For me, I thought, okay, if I put this money forward now, what will I get out? And at the time when we talked, Jim, I was very certain that I would be entering consulting. And so I strategically looked at, okay, what is the salary for an entry-level consultant of my experience? How long would it take me to pay off the loan that I've taken out? And, what is the likelihood that I would get the job? So all of those things factored into whether I would attend the GDB and pay for it. And I think that's the way you should think about it when deciding if something is worthwhile, is understanding your potential to repay that, and then also value added that is not necessarily quantifiable financially, like, for example, skills that are learned that may help you land a role, but you don't necessarily have a dollar value to add to that. So I thought about those things as well.
Oh, that's wonderful, Anmol. And thanks for mentioning the scholarship. I'm not going to say and tell everybody what Anmol got. That would be inappropriate. But I will say he was a superstar, so you can discern from that whatever you like. And I think that's an important thing because Patrick, maybe a quick comment. The School of Business provides support in many ways through scholarships. But maybe, Patrick, a little bit about some of the innovation we've had there in scholarships, where it's both from operating funds and also some of our newer scholarships to support equity-seeking individuals. And I think it's important to share that. And Anmol and I have had lots of chats about how the Smith School of Business has to continuously do better. I think we're making progress, but Anmol and I chat a lot. We got to do a lot better, don't we, Anmol? So quick point to you and then over to Pat.
Yeah, I think you've started offering, since I attended anyway, and that was only a couple months ago, you've started offering newer scholarships and that were not present for my class. And I think that's already moving forward in the direction that we were talking about in just as soon as I finished.
Thanks, Anmol. Over to you, Pat.
Yeah, I think the ones you're referencing there, Jim, are the Black and Indigenous scholarship. So we've introduced those in the GDB and across all of our professional graduate programs. And I know we're on a GDB webinar, but it's important to know that we have a whole suite of professional graduate programs. So people that are looking at the GDB can also look at those and see if they fit with their needs as well. And so the Black and Indigenous scholarships have been introduced across the entire portfolio as we look to become a more inclusive community and open the door for people to join our programs.
Perfect. Okay, thanks, Patrick. All right, so last two questions. We're going to leave the final word to Anmol, but Pat, you're a Smith grad, as you shared. Commerce, it's been 18 years. Can you maybe just give a perspective as an alum about what it's meant to you and any advice you have, because I know you're a parent of people working their way soon through university, finishing high school. What advice do you have for them thinking about a GDB either this year, next, or when it matters most to them?
Yeah, I think you touched on it, Jim. And what I thought about was the power of the network and the Smith family. And hopefully Anmol's experienced some of that, and maybe he can share some of that for us. But if I use myself as an example, my first boss at KPMG was a commerce grad. My second boss at the School of Business was a commerce grad. You've talked that the program's entering its 10th year. It's going to happen with the graduate diploma business students that join. They're joining a network of people who have been around, and some that graduated 9 years ago that are working wherever in Canada and the rest of the world, but also just a much broader family. For example, we offer these Smith enrichment courses where you can participate in courses with people from all of our various graduate programs. And so the power of that network is huge. When I put my commerce jacket anywhere in the world, I usually run into an alumni, somebody, right? So I don't think you can put a price on that. And we have a huge network of undergraduate and graduate students. And as soon as you take our program, get immersed in Kingston, it's a beautiful city, get immersed in your team, all that coaching, you'll realize pretty quick how powerful that network is.
Pat, thanks for that. Now, Anmol, he got this jacket because he did 4 years of schooling. I think we need a GDB 4-month version of that. But Anmol, over to you. What advice do you have for people who are trying to figure out, is the GDB the thing they should do in May of this coming year? What advice would you have if you were speaking to them directly?
That's a good question. Look, I think everyone should come in with the mindset of belonging to both the Smith community and value you add to that community, but also thinking very strategically about how you want to use your time in the GDB. Going back to Patrick's point, I knew what I wanted, even if I didn't end up there. I came in with a plan, and that plan allowed me to guide my energy and my time, and also leverage the Smith network. I got my interview at McKinsey specifically by leveraging the network. I wouldn't have gotten it if I was cold applying. I worked my way through the network to get there. So I think when you think about, is the GDB worth it for me? You have to think about what you plan to put in and what you plan to get out. And you have to think about it purposefully, and Jim will help you. He will help you say, come to him with a plan and he'll say, okay, this makes sense. This is where we can help. And I did that before I even applied. When we started our initial discussions, I said, this is what my plan is. And I think you thought I was a little bit, ahead of myself, but that's how you want it to be. Jim's there to guide you. So take advantage of that and come in with a plan.
And more beautiful finish on that. And so really quickly, Anmol and Patrick, just want to say thanks. I think this feedback is going to be really helpful to students who are considering the program. And just before we finish today, I'm just going to provide some final points here to students. So if you're interested based on the information shared today, or you just want to get more info to help you figure out whether this is the right thing today or maybe tomorrow, who knows? What we'd encourage you to do is reach out to Rachel Green. Her email's there. And what is beautiful from my perspective about the Smith School of Business, and I got to tell you, I'm an Ivy grad. And so I've started working here many years later. When I was at Ivy, it was the best school in the country, but no way now. It's definitely Queen's. And what I really like about what Queen's does is we don't charge you to see if you're interested in the program, because what we're looking for is great people who are the right fit for what we're trying to do to help. And so it's no cost to you. There's no application fees. Reach out to Rachel. It's a real person. There's no chat GPT here, even though we love that here at the Smith School of Business. It's a real person. You get to chat with them. And Anmol knows Rachel because Rachel was in the program as well. She'll walk you through it. And if you feel it's the right one for you, well, it's going to be an exciting year. It's our 10th year. And so I'm not much of a party person, but I got to tell you, we're going to have some kind of party. And I got the finance head of the school here, and he's going to have to ante up some money for some kind of party. We don't know what it'll look like, but we're pretty excited about this group coming in for the 10th year. Okay, I think we're done for today. I want to explicitly thank Anmol for giving us our time today. When I asked him, he said, yes, no problem. And life's busy for Anmol. Anyone who's building a company and out there in today's market trying to raise money has got a lot of things on their plate. So Anmol, thanks very much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with the group today. Very much appreciated.
You're very welcome, Jim. Happy to do so. Let me know if you need me to come back.
Wonderful. And Patrick Legrelli, Patrick, big supporter of the GDB from day one to now. Again, thanks for giving us the time today and sharing that perspective with the group.
You're very welcome.
Okay, I think that's it. I got one more thank you though. This ran off really well today. Normally I make some mistake. It didn't happen today. That's all because of Alex in the background. Alex, why don't you stand up, and a big round of applause for making this work smoothly today for our audience.
Thanks very much, Jim. Appreciate it.
Now, Alex, you normally like to take the floor and talk for 5-6 minutes. Are you going to say no to that today or what?
Maybe I'll talk for 5-6 seconds and just remind people that they will be getting an email within the next couple of days with a link to this recording for this session. So keep an eye out for that, and check out some of the other great GDV webinars that are up on the Smith YouTube channel.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alex. All right, everybody. We'll finish it off now. Alex, if there's any questions from the audience, we're happy to answer them. And if not, the video recording's available, and it's an opportunity for you to absorb it on your terms. And then certainly you can reach out to Rachel and or me directly. Alex, are we good in the chat?
Yep, looks like we're all good. So yeah, reach out to Rachel, reach out to Jim with your questions.
Wonderful. Okay, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And thanks for taking the time and spending it with the Smith Graduate Diploma in Business. Bye, everybody.